The cheapest way to mix, and when it comes to concrete or cement for the foundation of the tiny house or the small house or the cabin, I'm just going to repeat the same thing I mentioned before, but add a little bit more of info to the mixing steps. Basically, you dig in the ground based on the codes in the area and how deep the foundation has to be. So if it's 3 inches, if it's 4 inches, if it's 3.5 or more or 5 or 6, whatever the requirement is in that area, you would dig that shape of the foundation that you want. Is it square or different size? But you dig it to the depth of what the codes are requiring. And so once you have that digged out in the earth, that space, then you buy those bags of cement or concrete. If somebody wants concrete, but I think usually it's cement. They usually use cement. So you buy all these bags at a store where they sell them. It's not that expensive, and you bring them in, and you lay them in that area. And if it's quite deep, then you just put 2 bags in one spot, and then you continue laying, fill all that area with those bags. Then start pouring water over it, and as you're pouring water over it, then you use a cutter and cut the bags and slowly kind of pull them out underneath that water, so the majority of the dust would be underneath the water. And definitely the mask is supposed to be on. It's supposed to have a mask on just because of that dust, that strong dust. So as you're doing that and you're pouring that water over it, you pull the bags out, is there going to be more water? I mean, it really depends on how much water you put in that area, but yeah, if you want to subdue it kind of with water, well, it's going to be quite a bit of water, so the mix is not going to be equal, obviously. So then the idea is you have extra bags laying separately that you bought, that you cut an opening on the bottom of the bag and start pouring that additional. So once you mix all those bags that are already laying in that area with the water, and if it's too much water, usually that will be the result. Just because without too much water, it's not going to mix this properly, because there'll be a lot of it will look like just sand, and you want to make sure all of that sand, all of that cement is mixed in with water. You don't want to leave parts of it. So as you're mixing all of that, the mixing is so crucial, obviously. And you can use a rake. You can use a rake that's used for rocks. It has a metal top connected to the piece of wood, obviously to the stick, to the handle. And it's a low handle. It's a low handle, and so the longer the better, so you'll be away from all that dust. You can be kind of like away, set yourself away from it, and just start using that rake, start moving it through as the other person is pouring water over it, and start mixing. All you have to do is just get the contact of water with all that cement. So you kind of mix it, you kind of lift certain parts of it up, and do that really good mix to it. And it's really all you need is just one of those, or 2 or 3, depends on how many people you have and how big the size it is. Just rakes designed for rocks, because they have that metal top. And with that metal top, you can just go through it, mix it all in, and usually there'll be more water left in that mix than the cement. So then the additional bags of cement that you set aside, you open from the bottom and you start pouring that in and continue on mixing. So then you get it to the exact mix that it has to be, or that you want it to be. It will become really thick. That's really how you make it thick. But if you just put everything in that area and break the bags and cover it with water. Usually there'll be too much water, and even that will set eventually, but it's not going to be as thick as you wanted it to be, or as it should be really. But eventually, over time, it will still settle and it will still be solid, but if you want it to be exactly as thick as possible, you want to add more into it as you're mixing with your mask on and with that rake standing further away from all that dust, and because of that low handle that you have, and just going through. Or if you want to be close, it's up to you. I mean, to be on the safer side for somebody that's not as experienced, it's probably better just to stay as far as possible and just use that rake going back and forth, making sure all the cement comes in contact with the water, or all the concrete comes in contact with the water, and it becomes nice and thick, just the same as you would see those trucks bringing it over when it's just nice and thick. It becomes the same way. So in that way, somebody that just doesn't have too much experience, but they can still have their own little foundation for a tiny house, for a small house. I mean, technically, if you want to have for a big house, there's a lot of people, and they can dig a big, foundation for it, and just buy lots of bags. It's the same thing. You probably, but I'm just kind of covering towards the tiny house or cabin or small house. It's one of those things. The rake for rocks, it's like $20 or something, or more or less, in America, in Home Depot, or other stores, Lowe's, or any other hardware stores, where they sell them. So it's and after you're done, you can look at it as part of the project. So in the sense that if it got messed up, if that concrete set on it and it got attached to it and you can't get it off, with that cement, you can just throw it away or something, or just keep the stick or something. It's just part of the expense towards building something. You shouldn't worry about. You can always rinse it off and get all that off. But if you were so into it and didn't have the time to rinse it all off and keep on mixing, the priority is to mix everything correctly, nicely, so then your foundation will be good. That $20 is just an expense towards building a foundation. So it's really, the rake is not a priority, But if anything, you probably would buy a couple of extra rakes just in case. If somebody else will be helping out, or if the first one. Usually they are pretty good. And just by hand, just mix it with the rake, and it's done. It's there. It's a wonderful thing. Glory be to God. That's a beautiful option there, and the cheapest way to do it, because those bags are not that expensive, and even if sometimes you can just rent a van or rent one of those mini trucks, and just get a pallet of those bags, and just bring it over, and if it's a pallet, it's so easy for them to just use a lift, take the pallet out, put it into your mini truck. If it's a van, I don't know if they can put the pallet in it. They might have to just do it by hand. But it really helps. It really helps when, especially with a pallet. It's a pallet, they put a pallet into your mini truck, and then you just come to the location and just throw the bags with people that are helping. Throw them into that square that you dug out based on the measurements, and then just add water to it. But make sure you have extra bags for it to be a perfect mix. Otherwise, it's going to have too much water. And when it comes to, you can always put a lining underneath if you wanted to. It's up to, some people might not be able to, for whatever reason. It's up to them. Some of that water will be less of it. So in a way, it kind of helps, because some of it will just go down, right, through the soil, and some of it will stay. But for a perfect mix, you have to have additional bags that you have to open and pour into that. After you're done mixing what you had already there, make sure everything came in contact with water. And if it's really there's too much water, just keep on adding the mix and keep on adding from the bags and mixing it, and it'll be a perfect mix. And then just with 3, 4, 5 hours or something like that, if it's a quick dry concrete or cement, it'll be done. Better to wait one day, just to be on the safe side. One day for it to just completely settle and be done. And then you have your foundation, and it's a beautiful thing, not too expensive, definitely the cheapest way, just cheapest way. And those vans are not that expensive sometimes to rent. It depends what country, I guess, but usually they're not. I mean, especially it's per hour, or those mini trucks. It's like the truck is just a little bit bigger than a van, but it opens up and I think it's just perfect for one of those pallets, and you just slide it into the truck, and you bring it over. It's just a matter of putting them into that location, pouring water over it, and then having extra bags to add to the mix, and then the mix is just right, and just letting it sit, settle, and foundation is there. Glory be to God, glory be to the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. This is Markov saying, God bless everyone.